Meeting order. This meeting is being held in accordance with the sunshine laws of the state of New Jersey, Chapter 45 by Mayor and Council and the Planning Board for official notices. Notice of this meeting was posted on the Borough Bulletin Board and the Borough website for that purpose. Roll call, Suzanne.
Here.
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 Here. Here. We have a quorum. Everybody rise for the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get to our caseload this evening, we have a couple items of administrative business. First is the approval of the minutes of our June 20th, 2024 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes that was here? Any comments or questions on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Chris and Jen abstain. Going on, 3 resolutions from last month's cases. Case number 24-4-3P, that's Gregory Bosong, 411 2nd Avenue, Block 15, Lot 16, and that was C variances for a driveway expansion, a ramp, and a deck to the single-family dwelling. Has everybody who voted affirmatively had a chance to review the resolution? Any questions or comments regarding the resolution? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, roll call, Suzanne.
Yes.
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 Motion passes. Next resolution, case number 24-6-2P. Benjamin and Athena Uden, 23 First Ave, Block 5, Lot 10, C variance relief with respect to a 2-story addition to the back of their single-family dwelling. Has everybody had a chance to review the resolution? Any questions or comments? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a roll call in a second.
Yes.
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 Motion passes. Last resolution, case number 24-5-2P, Station Avenue Lofts LLC, 501 to 503 Station Avenue, and that's Block 25, Lot 16, and 17.01, and that was site plan approval for conformance to the approved redevelopment plan for that project.
Can I ask a question about that one?
Absolutely.
I know we brought up the sightline triangle for the driveway, which is included. We also brought one up for Station Avenue eastbound. Is that to be included in that or not? I didn't see that one.
I don't recall.
I don't believe so because it's a signalized traffic intersection.
I believe that was the testimony at the hearing.
Okay.
That's
Thank
correct.
you.
Any other questions or comments on that one? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Suzanne?
Yes.
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 Motion passes. Before we open up our new case this evening, we'll open it for public comment for anybody that wants to speak on something that's not related to any specific case that's on this evening. Come forward. We'll have our solicitor swear you in, and you can say what you want to say. Seeing none, close that portion of the meeting. New business, we have 4 applications this evening. First one is case number 24-6-1P. That's John and Susan Frank at 510 4th Avenue, Block 35, Lot 6, and this is for an enclosed deck. Franks are here. Come forward. We'll have our solicitor swear you in. Oh, that's being pushed. Donato? Oh, I want to make one, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I want to make one announcement that case number 24, you can stay there, I'll be done in 1 second. Case number 24-7-3P, that's Brittany Donato at 123 10th Avenue, Block 45, Lot 23. They were scheduled to be heard this evening. They're going to be pushed into our August agenda. So if you're here to comment or get information on that matter, that won't be heard until our next meeting, which I guess is August 15th. I think it's the 15th.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. 3rd Thursday in August.
They do have to notice. That's like, I think the issue is
They didn't notice correctly.
Yeah,
Okay.
So they will be noticing.
They didn't get their notice in on time, so they'll be here next month. Okay. Without further ado, we'll have our solicitor swear the Franks in. And Steve, our engineer and planner Steve is here.
You raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to tell us a little bit about your project?
Yeah, sure. Hi. So we rebuilt the house probably
2008.
in 2008. And in order to build onto the house, the existing structure in 2008, we also needed this similar variance. The side yard setback is surveyed as being shorter than the allowed 10 feet, right? So it's only coming in just about 9 feet. So we want to now further build off of the kitchen that's along the back of the house, and we want to extend along the same lines, just so that we can use the same openings and the same flow of the structure.
So you're saying you're not going any closer to the side property line, you're just extending what's already there?
Exactly, yep, just
Okay.
extending straight out.
Is the deck going to have, it's going to be slat, so it'll be pervious?
No, we want to build it as a 3-season room, so. with
It's
the
going
roof-
to be a
with the roof
3-season
on
room, I'm
top.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have drainage, gutters, and, proper water flow.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, I refer the board into the applicants, and with the applicant's permission, our July 10th, 2024 review. The application is for a 250 square foot addition and a 3-season room, which in essence is a screen porch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
a 3-season room. But that doesn't limit them to only be using it as a 3-season room. The addition is the addition. If they want it to be a 4-season room, that is still part of your application materials. The relief that's being sought here is only for, the new relief is for the side yard, individual 8.85 on the side where they're building the proposed addition, 10 foot is required in the R2 zone, and the side yard aggregate, 25 feet is required, and they're approximately 22 feet. And I'd like to leave it at 22 feet based on some scaling of the plan. There are many existing additions that are non-conformity. Minimum lot size is 10,000 existing 10,000 square feet. Required in the zone is 12,000. Minimum lot width, 60 foot is required in the zone, 50 foot is existing. And they also have, and should be noted for the record, their accessory outbuilding, the side yard setback is 3.7 feet where 5 feet is required. But the new relief that they're asking for this evening is just for the side yard on the side where they're going to propose addition. And for right now, for this purpose, we're going to call the addition not only the extension, but also the 3-season room for the one side yard and for the side yard aggregate. They are conforming for lot coverage where 30% is permitted, and they're calculated at 25%. So there's no concern there.
Would you see?
Also, I'd like to note for the record that it does not appear that this will result in more than 500 square feet of land disturbance or grading plan would not be required. The only recommendations we have is any downspouts be directed away from adjacent properties and the installation of a silt fence. And if you have any questions what that is, a silt fence is that fabric fence with the posts that you see on construction sites. So when you're digging up the yard and everything else,
Just
any
prevents-
soil goes against the fence and doesn't go into adjacent properties or into the public road.
Are you agreeable to both of those conditions?
Yes,
Did you get approved this evening? Okay. And you feel that the reason you can't comply with the side yard setback, except that it's a consistent condition pretty much, is that your lot is undersized for the zone?
yeah, correct.
Okay. Does anybody else, Steve, do you have anything else?
Nothing further, sir.
Anybody have any questions for Steve? Anybody have any questions for
I have-
the applicant?
I have one question. So part of this application is you're gonna dig up the concrete strips for your driveway, and you're gonna put a solid driveway down.
That's
right?
already
That's
done.
already done.
It's already completed?
That was completed a couple years ago.
Oh, it was, okay. All right, Well, never mind then. Thank you.
Yes.
Mhm.
I have a few questions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So as Jeff mentioned, it sounds like that the lot is undersized, which is posing a hardship for the applicant to, be in conformance with the ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you say that do you feel like maybe that some of the neighbors have similar additions and similar Three Seasons rooms?
Absolutely, yeah. Our house is not the biggest one on the street.
So would you say that this addition wouldn't pose any negative impact to the zoning plan or the master plan? Because as you said, there are neighboring properties with similar additions.
Yeah, I mean, we're just following along with the way everyone else has also added on to their houses. It's no different, really.
And this addition wouldn't be taller than the house. You really wouldn't see it from the front.
You
No,
wouldn't see
you
it from
wouldn't see
the,
it from the front.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, we'll open this to the public. If anybody would like to come forward and speak on this application, come forward. We'll have the solicitor swear you in, and we'll take your comments or questions. Seeing none, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the board for possible action. So it looks like we're looking at a C variance.
Yeah, I would say that it sounds like from the testimony from the applicants that a C1 hardship would apply here because they have various pre-existing non-conforming conditions, especially with the lot being undersized, that represents a hardship to the applicant, and that considering they are just building back and extending for, I guess, the variance that they already have,
Yes.
and you won't be able to see it from the front, there's going to be no impact to the zoning ordinance or the master plan. So I think a C1 is appropriate here.
Would anybody like to make a motion to grant the requested relief?
I'll make a motion to grant the application in conformance with Steve's recommendations for silt fence and rainwater direction. This is for a side yard aggregate of 8.85 feet, where 10 is required, and an aggregate side yard of 22 feet, where 25 feet is required.
Anybody want to second the motion? Roll call. Any question on the motion? I'm sorry. Roll call, Suzanne?
Ms. Bonaccorsi? Yes. Mr. Dukakis?
Yes.
Chairman Hanson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hart? Yes. Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
And Mr. Phillips?
Motion passes. You're approved. I'm gonna give this explanation once because it's a little bit lengthy. This goes for any case that could potentially be approved this evening. All three are the same nature. So next month we'll do a resolution, or hopefully next month if we meet, we'll do a resolution that memorializes the decision that was made here this evening. Then after that, the notice of that decision gets published in the newspaper. Somebody could potentially or technically appeal the decision 45 days after the notice of that public, or after that notice is published in the newspaper. So you proceed at your own risk if you want to take construction permits and start your project within that until that appeal period expires. Given that nobody here was here to object this evening, that's probably unlikely, but I do like to
Sure.
give everybody that information. That goes for any case like yours.
Absolutely.
So just so you're aware of that.
And I'm going to ask the solicitor on the resolution if it can specifically include the testimony that I provided regarding no limitation as to it only being 3 seasons, because I believe the board voted on it as being an addition. I just want to make sure there's no.
I think that's a good idea. Just make sure that's noted in the resolution to cover them. Okay, thanks for coming in.
Great. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Next case this evening is case number 24-7-1P, and that's Jared and Catherine Carey at 1202 West High Street, Block 77, Lot 4, and they're seeking C variance relief for single-family home additions. We'll have a solicitor swear you in.
Sure.
Okay, when you're all settled, if you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, do you want to tell us a little bit about
Sure.
your project?
Good evening, I'm Jared. This is my wife, Kate. We're here asking for a bulk variance at our property so we can put a 1-story kitchen addition on to replace our existing deck. We've been living in town for 9 years. We love the town. Our kids are in the schools. We just need more space. The kitchen addition will fit in with the neighborhood and will not be an eyesore. It'll be in the rear of our property. We've reviewed Mr. Bach's letter and have confirmed with the architect that the addition will be more than 10 feet from either property line. And we agree with Mr. Bach's recommendations for rain barrels and a silt fence. There's no problem there. And the height, one of the, where is it? One of the review comments from Mr. Bach was that he needed the height of the existing garage, and that is 11 feet 8 inches at the apex. We thank you for your time and consideration.
Can you repeat that height?
11 feet 8 inches.
So it looks like it complies with the ordinance, complies with the ordinance for outbuildings. As far as maximum height, which is 16, I guess, looks like in the R2, Steve. Steve, do you want to?
Yeah, so it's less than 16 feet. So if I may, with the applicant's permission and the board chair's permission, refer the board to our July 11, 2024 review. As the applicant indicated, they're proposing to construct a 232 square foot one-story addition to their existing dwelling. As noted on page 205 of our review, the minimum lot size required in the zone that the property is located is 12,000 square feet, the R2 zone. The existing lot area is 7,500 square feet. Lot width is an existing 50-foot lot in terms of width, and 60 foot is required in the zone. Maximum lot coverage is 30% as a maximum permitted. Existing is 32%. They're increasing as part of their application an additional 3% for 35%. That is why we have a recommendation of rain barrels in terms to offset and mitigate and provide some relief as to the additional impervious coverage. But in our opinion, it does not rise to the level where we would recommend in a one-site infiltration system. Also, we note several existing nonconformances, which are included in our letter, and that we have confirmed by the applicant's testimony that the garage is less than 16 feet. So that's in compliance, but we do also note the existing nonconformance of the garage side. So the only new relief that is being asked for this evening is for the maximum impervious maximum lot coverage, which is 35 being proposed, 30 is required under the zone. But I would ask the solicitor to note the existing nonconformities on the property. So going forward, you would at least have a record or a vesting that those existing nonconformities exist as of this hearing.
Right.
Thanks, Steve. Does anybody have any questions? Or is that it, Steve? I'm sorry.
That is it.
You guys said you're good with his recommendations with the rain barrel and the silt
Yes.
fence and everything else in his letter? Okay.
Yeah.
Is any questions for Steve? Any questions for the applicant?
I'll continue the same questions I have. So similar to the last applicant, would you say that the reason that you are requesting the variance is that you have many pre-existing non-conforming conditions?
Yes, we have a large garage that was there before we bought the house, and that takes up a lot of space.
And as well as things like the lot size, all the side yard setbacks.
Right.
Would you say that the addition that you're proposing are similar to other additions that are in the neighborhood?
Very, yes.
And based on that, would you say that the relief you're requesting would have any impact to the borough ordinance or the zoning ordinance or the master plan?
No,
Thank you.
thanks.
It is also noted, and I know Mr. Dukakis is going to bring this up, they do have a garage in the rear, and they do have a driveway that extends all the way to the rear of the property with rear parking, which is something that is one of the goals and objectives, to have all parking not be from the building face forward, but have it building face to the rear. So
That's adding
also
additional
a mitigating
impervious.
factor in terms of the impervious coverage relief.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Anything else from the board? Open this meeting to, or open this hearing to the public. Anybody that would like to come forward and speak on this application, come forward. If you have a question or comment, we'll have our solicitor swear you in, sir. Come forward so the microphone can pick you up, if you don't mind. Stand right there is fine. Steve likes company.
Yeah.
Sir, can you state your name and address for the record?
Brendan Butler, 509 Geyer Drive, Haddon Heights.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. My family, we are currently experiencing a substantial amount of flooding on our property. We are objecting to this bulk variance because of the risk it imposes on making our situation worse and affecting the well-being of our family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Steve, you want to talk about what would be required should they be approved as far as mitigating potential stormwater runoff as a result of the?
I would like to add, so under our ordinance and under the DEP stormwater regulations, this is not considered a major development. There are no requirements of our ordinance or by any other statute or other regulatory agency to require stormwater improvements to be installed as part of this application. The recommendation that we provided was to mitigate an exceedance of our ordinance. So in essence, the applicant has voluntarily agreed to our professional recommendation to add the rain barrels to mitigate the offset of the additional 3% of impervious coverage. But there is nothing that would require any on-site infiltration or any stormwater systems. I think that's what you're
They're
looking for.
mitigating the additional impervious is being mitigated by the installation of rain barrels.
And then also, I think it's appropriate to bring up, if this was 30% of a 12,000 square foot lot,
It's a different case.
it's a different case. So this is 3% of 7,500, not 3% of a 12,000 square.
It's
foot lot.
220 square
So
feet.
the percentage, yeah, so the percentages, this is in terms of what is being proposed as an exceedance in terms of generation of stormwater, in my professional opinion, would be considered negligible.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Sir, I'm sorry, where's your property in relation to this property?
We are behind them.
Behind them?
Yes.
And so the grade of their property kind of leans towards?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now. It's under litigation with the borough.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Butler?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to speak on this application? Seeing none, close public participation. Elena?
So similar to the last application and based on the testimony of the applicants, it seems like this application would qualify for a C1 hardship variance due to the pre-existing non-conforming conditions, especially regarding their lot size, which is 1,500 square feet, more than half of what is required. Also the lot width, the side yard setbacks, and the garage size, which was there when the applicants purchased the property, I believe you said. So they also have that garage in the rear of the property with a driveway going back to it, which is desirable under the master plan. And the addition is similar to other additions in some of the neighboring properties. So the testimony was that it will not have a negative impact on the zoning ordinance or the master plan.
Anybody like to make a motion to approve or disapprove the application?
Can I just add something? The rear of our property is very dry. It's dead, dead grass. It's no saturation of water anywhere behind our garage. It's dying. So,
I will make a motion to approve the application because of the hardships of the property, lot size, and with the recommendations of the block letter that has been agreed to the water barrels and the silt fence. Missing anything else? That's it. That's my motion.
Anybody like to second it?
I'll second.
Roll call, Suzanne?
Ms. Bonner? Yes. Mr. Dukakis?
Yes.
Mr. Hanson?
I'll vote yes because I believe that the addition of the rain barrels to offset the additional impervious coverage is a substantial factor that those shouldn't be a negligible impact by the result of the addition. So, or positive impact, if anything, really. Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Same caveat I had about the appeal period for your project. Might want to heed that, but, so.
Okay.
Project's approved. See Suzanne when you're ready to move forward.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming in. Third and final case this evening, that would be case number 24-7-2P. That's Sarazan, 1547 Cedar Avenue, Block 110, Lot 12. And that's for a deck, I understand.
Hi, good morning, or afternoon, evening. I'm Sarah. This is Justin, our architect, and my husband, Dave.
Have you all, is everybody going to give testimony? We'll have you all sworn in, our solicitor.
Yes.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And can we qualify the expert?
Can you go through your qualifications? I don't think you've been before this board before.
No, I
so
haven't. I've not had the
Give you a chance
privilege
to
of, meeting here.
provide your
My name is
qualifications.
Justin Coleman. I'm an architect. I work primarily in Pennsylvania and New Jersey with a few projects in California. This is my first project in this neighborhood, although I did grow up in just a few neighborhoods over. So
Your registrar architect in the state of
I'm
New
sorry,
Jersey?
yes, I'm a registered architect, member of the AIA, and I'm registered in all three of those
Okay.
jurisdictions.
We
And
certainly,
that included New Jersey, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
we certainly recognize your expertise in the field of architecture as it pertains to this application then. Proceed.
So we're here because we have a variance application.
Were we sworn in? Did I
Yeah.
miss that?
Oh, you were already sworn in,
You were
Steve.
sworn in. I think
Sworn.
we're
I
good.
missed
Okay.
it, sorry.
It's okay. You've been sworn.
We got you at the beginning of the meeting. I don't
You
think.
swear, Abby. It's fine.
Go ahead, Sarah.
So we are proposing to build a small addition in the back of our house, one-story addition with a deck. And the variance is for the deck because we're looking to be approximately 24 inches, 2 feet on the side of our yard, which is considered a front yard because our property is a corner property to Devon and Cedar. And so the addition is being built for my parents who are ill, and when they visit, they need a place to stay. And we've had 2 kids in the last couple of years. The deck is to just have some outdoor living space. And with the way that we've proposed it, currently with the plan, we're looking to minimize structural, like a lot of structural improvement. So we're looking to use existing doorways, not looking to change a lot of the existing structure. And we also want to be careful not to impede on our neighbors who are on the opposite side of Devon Avenue, or our Cedar Avenue, thank you, our butt-up neighbors. So we're looking to keep behind our house, within line of our house, which would require our deck to be 2 feet over the, front yard. Justin prepared a statement. He's probably better
Looks
to
like when you're
speak this than
proposing
me.
20 feet where 25 is required.
Correct.
And there's a lot coverage, lot coverage is going from 30 to 35, and then there's some other existing nonconformities. Looks like it's really close on the front yard for Cedar existing, but it's a tenth of a foot off there. Steve, maybe, does anybody have any questions for the zones, or do you want to?
May I add
Yeah.
just a few things?
Absolutely, I'm sorry.
So as Sarah mentioned, the addition, there's kind of, we noticed basically a logical place where the addition would, key into the existing building. That's a supporting wall in the back. So we're just trying, without reframing the back wall, we want to just have the passage through from the existing to the new in its current location. That kind of suggests a location for where the wall of the addition would be, because it would have to be between that exterior door and the existing bay window to the side. So that's like a logical place to put the addition, and then the deck, of course, to make it usable, needs to be substantially wide to get chairs and tables and some stairs down from the deck to the yard. I'm not sure if you have these images that were submitted as part of our application. We did some renderings and provided them to the planning committee. They're labeled Z1, Z2, and Z3.
Do it.
They're in a Dropbox, so they weren't public, they
Or
weren't,
in
you
the
weren't printed.
application package, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Happy to submit them if they're needed to just pass around.
We have those labeled since maybe not everybody had them. Oh, they are
Well, they're
labeled?
in the application also.
They're part of the application? Oh, those, okay, yeah, I have those.
And I just want to add, just from hearing tonight, if there are rain barrels, lining, whatever that may be to help with the rainfall and just ensuring that we have a proper plan in place. That wasn't proposed to us, but we're happy to talk about that.
We can talk about
So,
that further.
With the applicant's permission and the chair's permission, I'll refer the board to our July 11th, 2024 review. The applicant, as indicated, is proposing the 480 square foot building addition and 417 square foot deck. I believe I heard testimony that the setback for the deck will be 20 feet,
22 feet.
22 feet. And we scaled it, so that's at 22 feet. So the relief that's being sought is the front yard setback for the deck at 22 feet.
Correct.
And then also the maximum lot coverage of 35%, where 30% is required in the zone. We did specifically indicate in our review, and hopefully you were in receipt of our
Yeah,
review.
we did.
And it really is based on our recommendations and our opinions. That's what you have me here for. So this level, 450 square feet work, and a grading plan will be required for this. We are recommending an infiltration system that would just store the difference between what you're allowed to have, which is 30%, and what you're asking for the relief for, which is the 5%, but only for the water quality storm. And the water quality storm is the storm that occurs less than every 2 years. So it's the lowest frequency storm. Everybody hears about
50 years or something.
Yeah, so it's not a 100-year storm. It's not a 50-year storm. It's actually less than a 2-year storm. But that would mitigate, and that would be a little bit more than what rain barrels are. I asked your professional to contact me. We can give them some good examples of how this was accomplished by other applicants.
Yeah.
That might be most of the time, and this for the board knows already, but for the applicant, typically these are prefabricated plastic cisterns that could be just buried in the backyard, and you take your rain leaders to it. And there's a calculation that is available by the DEP, but we can share examples of it, of how you would calculate the volumes. Here, because based on the square footages and the 5%, I believe that would be an appropriate mitigating factor for the variance that's being proposed. Is that something that's acceptable to the applicant?
Yes, however, I wanted to make one statement. I believe, so we submitted an original site plan that had a larger deck on it. And so we believe that somehow the numbers got corrupted between the time you've got the numbers and what we submitted. So our calculation actually shows 31.7%, not 35. So I'm not sure if that makes any difference. However,
Are you sure of
based
your
upon that,
numbers?
yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, and I have the calculation in my
Okay,
packet here.
unfortunately, we don't have those calculations.
Okay.
So
How are we going to handle the variance? That's,
if the applicant wants to amend their application and only seek, and I caution the applicant to make sure, based on the application materials that we have.
Yes, sir.
I have a suggestion. I would suggest that you might want to consider getting it approved at the 35 that Mr. Bach calculated, and then we could potentially place a condition that you have to put a infiltration system into his satisfaction to address whatever the final determined amount is between what's actually installed and the 30%. So if it goes in at 33%, say, then you're responsible to put an underground infiltration system in that would account for 3%, 33 versus 30. Where,
May I ask a
because if you go for 31 and at the end of the day it's over 31, you're going to be right back here asking for a variance again.
Sure, that makes sense. I guess if we were to go in at 35, get this approved, agree to that, but if it ends up being 31 or 32, I'm hearing rain barrels, and I'm worried that the infiltration system is expensive. I don't know anything about that yet. Before we agree to it, I just want to make sure we're not agreeing to something that's.
We would want you to work it out with Steve's office, however.
Let me take a moment, if I may.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask the applicant to
Yep.
share,
Of course.
again,
So
this is different than what I have as part of the application materials. I don't have this.
that was my fear, yeah.
Yeah, so this is not part of any of the application materials. I would say this. It's the applicant's application. If the applicant is comfortable.
I was just making a suggestion. I don't want to.
I agree, Mr. Chairman. If the applicant is comfortable with a 1.7% lot coverage, then my recommendation in terms of mitigating factor would be the rain barrels versus the infiltration system, because that brings us down to 1.7% over the allowable.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with your application being approved at 31.7?
I'm comfortable, but I think it's up to the Zahn family to
They're
decide.
relying on you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
So,
I guess just, it's based on the drawings, is it?
yes,
Uh,
I mean,
what we-
those are the drawings, that's the number. I really appreciate the chairman's suggestion of maybe making it 35 and then having the opportunity to dial it back upon your recommendation.
it's,
I mean, we could would we be able to do a resolution that way that if it in fact was 32 or less, then it would be a rain barrel situation versus.
I would,
love
I
that.
would suggest this. That the applicant is seeking up to 35% impervious coverage. If it is 31.7% as verified by revised application materials, then rain barrels would be acceptable to the applicant. If it is over 31.7%, then it would have to store the difference of the water quality storm between whatever that percentage up to 35 in a system acceptable to the board engineer. And a grading plan will be required because it's going to be disturbing more than 500 square feet. And at the time that you would do these calculations and demonstrate that would be a time of compliance and grading plan review. So I think if the board is acceptable to that, I think you got the best of both worlds. You know,
Are you comfortable with?
Can you explain the grading plan to me?
well, a grading plan. So a grading plan is required for any disturbance within the town of over 500 square feet. That will require a topographic survey with your outbounds on it and demonstrating what the existing grades are and what your proposed grades are. And that is for the purpose of demonstrating that your grading will have no negative impact on adjacent properties.
Understood.
That is a requirement of the borough and cannot
It's
be,
really separate to the
Yeah,
rain.
cannot be waived.
That's really
by the
separate
board.
to the runoff.
No,
Required
this-
either way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to do a
understood, but,
grading plan.
and I did want to speak to that point respectfully. I did a calculation on the land disturbance, and we need 65 lineal feet of spread footings, an additional 3x3 footing in the center for the addition, and then we need approximately 6 pier footings at about 2 square feet each.
The additional impervious counts as disturbance.
Okay, so, and then the other thing I
The
wanted to
structures
mention-
themselves are disturbance.
Okay, understood. And then the other thing, and I didn't know if this was going to have an impact or not, so forgive me. The other issue I wanted to bring up is that there's an existing patio, and we're just pulling that out and putting basically an addition, a deck on top of it.
That's
Where
disturbance.
this-
If you're
disturbance.
building it
Oh.
on top of the existing patio and leaving it in place, that's something we can consider.
Mhm.
But the calculations that you're providing would be great for an impervious coverage, but disturbance is, I'm an architect as well besides an engineer, there's no way you're going to build an addition and not disturb the ground all the way in the footprint of the addition. So that's what we talk about when we call disturbance.
Okay,
Not land coverage, but disturbance. So based on the proposed addition itself being 500 square feet and let alone the deck, they're going to be disturbing more than 500 square feet. So a grading plan will be required, and that is not something that I would even consider the board even attempting to have waived. We don't.
No, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
We don't for any
something
other
of this scale.
applications in this manner. So that's a rule of the town.
I'm sorry.
That's the rule of the town. That's
Sure.
the ordinance.
understood.
Yeah, okay. I guess so, just so I can recap, so I understand this. If it is, we're going to seek for 35%
Lot coverage.
lot
variance.
coverage, thank you. If we have over 31.7, we would be asked to be putting in the filtration system.
Yes,
If it's 31.7, what we're measuring, it would be rain barrels.
yes.
Is that correct?
My understanding.
That's my
Okay, I mean, that
recommendation
would
to the
be,
board.
and then we have to get a grading plan regardless.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the rules.
I'm not fighting. I mean, it is, we're just looking to get it, just looking to get this
Yeah.
done. So
It's always difficult.
Steve, can I just ask a question real quick?
Sure.
The infiltration system that you're speaking of, is it as simple as those ABS
Yes,
things you buy at Home Depot that you
Yes.
have the knockout holes?
yes,
You dig a hole, you drop them in, and you can put 2 or 3 of them in a row?
exactly.
Okay.
Thank
I was going to do that in my backyard myself. It's like
So-
a couple $100.
So like, there's not this like,
It's not a concrete vault.
No,
It is
it's not major
I'm just trying to
construction.
understand like
Major-
expenses.
It's a homeowner weekend project.
Yeah, so-
The last,
Sorry, buddy.
But what this is, and you heard probably from sitting in the audience of the previous hearings, you have to provide some sort of benefit, some sort of mitigating factors. Well, you don't have to, but it's absolutely beneficial to the board when they're making their deliberations and determination. So the rain barrels and/or the infiltration system is a mitigating factor for the variance sought.
understood.
Okay, I mean, thank you for that clarification. That helps a lot. And that's acceptable to me if that is what is being required to move forward.
Can we mark the plan as a new exhibit since it wasn't part of the application process?
I'm not sure what happened. We submitted this when we submitted our variance application, so I'm not sure.
Well, then it should be submitted to the board engineer.
It will be submitted as part of
Okay.
compliance. I'm a little reticent to have an exhibit that has not been reviewed at
Yeah.
all by our office as part of the record.
Yeah.
So we're going to rely, if I could ask, rely on the applicant and the applicant's professional testimony regarding the percentages and what they should be able to achieve.
You guys have anything else?
That is it.
No.
Thank
Any
you
other
very much.
questions or comments
A
from the
little bit
board?
complicated, but-
I have a few, some I've lost.
Okay.
So could you speak a little more about the hardship? If there is a hardship, if you would qualify for the C1 variance. The other option is a C2 variance, which means that your application advances the purposes of municipal land use law.
So, I mean, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
one thing I just want to point, if I haven't already pointed out to the board, but this is a corner property that has 2 lot frontages, a lot frontage on Devon and a lot frontage on Cedar Avenue. So they have 2 front yards that are required. And the one relief that they're asking for specifically on this corner lot is the front yard variance relief.
It's also important to note that we already approved a fence in this back property. That is just off of, it's just off of Devon Avenue, 6-foot fence.
This is when we were on Zoom.
Yes,
I remember that.
thank you. I didn't know if you remembered me from those.
No, I remember.
years.
I used to live in that house.
I know, that's right. I was just telling
On
Justin,
that, I'm sorry, I used to live in that property. The house was torn down.
torn down. I just told him,
Oh,
actually, I remember that, Dean.
I planted that tree that's in the front.
We won't cut it down.
Don't,
It's
please
still
don't.
there.
I watch it
Promise you, we
every
just
time I
trimmed
walk
it.
by, I look at it.
We just trimmed it back.
What species is it?
As a proviso.
I just trimmed it back. It looks beautiful.
Great, thank
It's
you.
still in good shape.
So
Yes,
I think
there was
the
a
question
fence.
before you is
The hardship.
the hardship.
I think, go ahead.
I think that, I mean, being a corner property.
Is the hardship.
Is definitely a hardship, where that's our side yard. We have plenty of room on the other side, but we don't want to go into our neighbor's area, and they have their porch deck area, and that would be ours, and we'd be staring at each other.
If that was a side yard, as it practically acts,
Yes.
then this
It would-
would comply with side yard and
Correct.
aggregate side
That is the
yard
hardship.
for the zone. I see.
Yes.
You'd have over 30, almost 35 feet aggregate, 32 feet, well, you said 20, yeah, 35 feet aggregate and more than 12 on both sides, so.
Yes. In 2020, when we got that fence, we had different plans. And then my parents fell ill and we need them to be able to stay for extended periods of time. So now it's an addition versus a pool. But that was why we had the fence plan years ago. Plus kids. We have 2 young kids that are under 4 years old. So Devon Avenue is not the best location we've seen over the years for 2 young kids to be out back.
Would you also say that this addition is in line with similar properties in the neighborhood and the same character? Wouldn't change the character of the neighborhood?
It would not.
So no negative impact to the zoning ordinance or the master plan?
Correct.
Thank you.
Sorry if I forgot, but what's going to be in the addition?
So it's going to be a Murphy bed,
A Murphy
a
bed?
Murphy bed for my parents, and then just a couch and all one surface. They won't be living there. It's not to house them. It's just so when they come, they live far away. They can stay for more than a night. I have 3 bedrooms and I have 2 kids now, so there's nowhere for them to stay. And the basement's not really an option for them with their health. So it is for them, and then a deck just so we could still have a backyard usage, dinners.
It'd be a playroom, family room. We could put a table there on holidays. I mean, it's
Yeah.
multi-purpose room.
And a pull-out couch in essence.
Murphy bed,
Murphy
yeah.
bed.
Oh, you're actually building the Murphy bed?
Hopefully, if we can afford it after the grading plan. But yes, that is the plan.
I don't know if the
Is
board is aware what a Murphy bed is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that folds up into the wall?
One actually is like right out of.
I like to kind of come down from the ceiling.
something, yeah. I mean, it may end up being a couch, just somewhere for them to sleep is really the goal. But I don't know where we'll end up with a bed. It will be something.
Any further, Elena?
Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Anybody else? We'll open the hearing to the public. Anybody that would like to come forward and speak on this application, do so now, and we'll have our solicitor swear you in.
John Greminger, 1540 Cedar.
Hey, you want to raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So we live right across the street. I'm in support of the application, all the relief requested. Seems like everyone's worked everything out. So just giving a thumbs up from a neighbor.
Thanks for
And we also have, we're on a corner too across the street, so we understand all the hardships.
And we heard your
You
fence
were,
too.
you were in for a fence too, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, not too long ago.
Yeah.
Okay. We remember everything.
A lot of institutional knowledge up here. So.
Thanks for coming out again, Mr. Greminger.
Thank you, John, very much. And I should mention, John, our back neighbor, and Don and Pat have seen the plans. And they, just because we wanted to be good neighbors, before we even got to this stage and before they got their certified letter, they've seen the plans, they understand what's happening, they understand the implication, and very in support to at least our faces. And they didn't come to.
I imagine they
say
probably would have
otherwise.
come if they had a problem, right?
Yes,
That was
but they
thoughtful
were
of you to
aware,
do
they
that.
were presented the plans. We're all friendly in our corner.
Good. Okay. Anybody else from the public? Seeing none, close public participation. Bring it
The other
back
thing I would
to,
like to add for the solicitor to include is the existing non-conformance of the front yard setback on Cedar at 24.9 feet
Versus 25.
versus 25 required. Just to note it again, so we were.
All the
vesting
facts
on
of the
existing
case.
non-conformance as of tonight's hearing.
And you said it is the 24.9?
Yes.
Yeah.
that one's not being touched.
Yep.
It's not being changed, but it helps in the future.
Yep. I always record the pre-existing non-conforming.
Thank you.
So our plans as submitted would be approved if we follow along with the gradient and we have this measured properly, just so I can understand. There's no change to the plan.
I can't say that because you have a plan that I don't have.
Okay.
You have a plan that I don't have, so. But you'd be vested in, if the relief is granted, you'd be vested in that up to 35% based on those condition points.
Okay, thank you.
So based on the testimony the applicants provided, it sounds like the C1 is also appropriate for this application, based on the fact that the property is on the corner and has 2 front yards. It creates some hardship for them. The applicants did agree to, that they are seeking up to the 35% for the lot coverage. If it is 31.7% or less, then a rain barrel will be acceptable. If it's over the 31.7%, they would have to have an infiltration system that would store the difference of the amount up to the 35%, which will be acceptable to the board engineer. They will be required to submit the grading plan. They need to demonstrate compliance with the letter and submit the plan to the board engineer. And based on the addition being similar to neighboring properties, and also based on that mitigation, they, the application won't cause any impact to the zoning ordinance or the master plan.
Anybody like to make a motion to approve or disapprove the application at this point?
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to the infiltration system at the 35%, or the water barrels at, stormwater barrels at 31.7%.
Or under.
Yeah, or yeah, and
Anybody else like to second that motion?
I'll second.
Suzanne? Or any questions on the motion? I'm sorry. Seeing none, roll call, Suzanne?
Ms. Von Person? Yes. Mr. Duval?
Yes.
Chairman Nancy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hurd? Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
And Mr. Phillips?
Motion passes. Project's approved. You heard the spiel about the appeal period earlier. That'll apply to yours too. But
Thank you.
seeing that you only had one neighbor and he was in support, that's highly unlikely. But that'd be a pretty crappy thing to do, Mr. Greminger.
I mean, I can't emphasize that this whole issue with water runoff is over. You see, there was another applicant who was talking about litigation. So it's very important to us and to
I
the borough.
understand. I understand.
Recently.
Yeah, we don't want to be bad neighbors, just
No.
looking to make it feasible financially, but that makes sense. I understand that.
There was a lawsuit in the neighboring municipality that resulted in a multi-million-dollar settlement
Wow.
to some affected homeowners. So we're especially sensitive to that at this point and trying to protect the borough in any way we can.
That makes
against
sense.
Stuff like that.
So we'll do whatever it requires to,
It seems like a lot, but it's sort of a hot button thing right now, as it should be.
All right, thank you very
So,
much.
thanks for coming in.
great. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay. Thank you.
So Karen Weiss in my office.
Yes, I
So
spoke.
you-
Okay.
So you spoke with Karen?
Yeah.
21
Okay,
million
so she
for
can help you
four
with some of
houses.
those examples. So you're going to be over the 31%. We can assist and try to give you some direction for the Home Depot version
That was part of it.
of
Okay.
infiltration if necessary.
I don't know if it was them.
All
but
right. Well, thank you very much.
Apparently, the guy's aware of it. I don't know if they didn't do anything, but. Yeah, the rates will go up there probably. Any other business this evening, Suzanne? Correspondence?
I just wanted to see what you guys do. We're gonna be doing additions soon.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't know if you had anything to say. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, yeah, I'm just,
It's nice to have fans.
I'll be here in a couple months, hopefully.
Who's your favorite board member? You don't have to answer that. You can tell me later.
Good night.
Nothing else, Suzanne? Okay. Okay.
And we already did the review for Denano, right? Okay.
Anybody have anything further they want to discuss? Entertain a motion to adjourn. Want a second? Somebody made a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Good work, everybody.
If I'm working, I didn't realize it was the 15th, but I may be here next month.